Welcome to Travel Market Life, your companion for industry insights and professional business development. Travel Market Life. Join us by webcast, video or podcast.
Hello and welcome back to Travel Market Life. I'm your host Ryan Haynes and this is part of Hoteliers Voice Season 3. How Point A Hotels uses airline retail as a model. Joining me will be Nick Pilbeam, Commercial Director for Queensway Hotels and Hospitality, operator of Point A Hotels. Queensway is a family business founded in 1973, creating meaningful and memorable hospitality experiences. Its portfolio includes hotels, coffee houses, restaurants, residential property, and a private members club. Point A Hotels offers cosy, comfortable, budget-friendly rooms in the heart of the big city. With 7 hotels in London, 1 in Glasgow, Edinburgh and Dublin, Point A focuses on providing collaborative, fun and exciting places to work for its fantastic hosts. In today's conversation, we're going to be looking at technology for leading-edge hoteliers, learnings from airline sales models, PMS for smart operations, automation and data, and pricing for profitability.
Travel Market Life.
Joining me now is Nick Pilbeam. Thank you very much for joining me today, Nick. Now, it's really got an interesting concept for Point A. Can you tell me about it and why technology is so important for your brand?
Absolutely, Ryan. Thanks for having me along. Yes, no problem. Thanks for the introduction on Point A. We are small hotels with a big heart. So as you've heard, we're in excellent downtown locations, primarily in London, but also in the UK and Ireland in terms of our Scotland and Dublin properties. But effectively what we are really modern, actually a different concept. We've successfully disrupted the 3-star budget model with a very modern, comfortable sleep and go offering, where our bedrooms are fantastic, have all the mod content you would expect, fantastic breakfast, great value pricing and fantastic location. So you can come to town to do your thing, stay with us, have a great breakfast and then go. So that's our concept and business is great. Business is absolutely flying, which is a great place to be. But we're not resting on our laurels. Automation is a key part of our strategy. And why is that? And I suppose the natural assumption is that's to drive down costs in this situation of inflation that we're in, which is actually not our primary objective. Our main objective is to improve our customer experience and actually to give our customers more choice on how they interact with us, either pre-arrival at our hotels or post-stay. So that's actually a really important part of what we're doing. One of the many things that we're doing in that space is we are rolling out self-check-in across our estate, but actually a number of hotels are doing that. That is a bit of a trend right now. We see a lot of value in that for a number of aspects, but we're also, this actually changes the whole way we operate. So this changes our pre-registration, how guests register for their arrival. So they might digitally pre-register, but still have a manual check-in, a hosted check-in, because they like to deal with people when they check in. We're a hospitality business. But there are others that may not want to pre-register, but might want to have an automated check-in, cut their key and go to their room. So we're actually expanding the choices, the ways that our guests can interact with us, whilst collecting more data to, again, reinvest that back into the guest experience to recognize our customers in a better way. And yes, third priority, there probably will be some cost synergies, but that's not kind of the main priority.
Now, I know we're going to be deep diving a bit more into your specific aspects of your hotel tech stack. And one of the points you just particularly mentioned was automation being a particular focal point for you in the business. When you're coming to look for new systems and suppliers within the industry, are you actually putting that as a key criteria that there are aspects of automation? And as you say, is this and how do you sort of balance that perhaps between that guest experience, like you just mentioned, but perhaps more importantly, your hosts, your staff on site, because as you say, it's about creating, your ethos there is about creating that environment that is enjoyable to create, I guess, that hospitality experience. Absolutely, and I feel that the reason we're on this automation journey actually benefits our team on the ground as well. We want to be an attractive brand to work for, that we attract high talent and retain them. Again, it's still a challenge in hospitality industry. So we feel that automating manual, boring, repetitive tasks is actually really important. So that's a key area that we look for to benefit our guests and our teams on the ground. And to answer your former question on how do we choose technology, automation is a key part of that.
I mean, I'm relatively new to hospitality, having come from airlines, and hospitality, I mean, there are plenty of systems to choose from. It's actually really exciting. But the key is how you can get your hotel system estate to hang together. So actually the quality of two-way integrations that is a key success criteria for us when we're selecting technology, because if you've got a nice point solution that doesn't hang together with the rest of your tech estate that delivers a seamless guest experience, we're going to struggle. So that actually is one of our main requirements now for selecting new tech.
Now, I mean, your background in airlines, as you just mentioned, what learnings are you able to apply now to this world of hospitality that you've entered into? And perhaps, are there any areas that you realize there is a huge gulf between the way that hoteliers do business and actually airlines?
It's fascinating. So airlines, comparing that industry to hotels, if you look at over time, airlines invented revenue management. Airlines invented the large-scale loyalty programs. Airlines invented and were the first to roll out self-check-in. Airlines invented, ancillary selling, unbundling the journey, things like paying for your seat selection. You buy an economy seat, well, they're all the same. Well, actually, they're not quite all the same, are they? And you're willing to pay maybe £10, £20 to sit further up or further back down the aircraft. So I think over time, airlines have led that aspect of development and obviously empowered by technology to deliver that to flyers. If you compare and contrast the hotel industry has been catching up fast, right? So AI-powered revenue management is much more common now in global hospitality, which is great. Loyalty programs, arguably the hotel loyalty programs have almost overtaken the airline loyalty programs. If you look at the big players out there with the major multinational brands, they've done a really great job. So that's come forward leaps and bounds over time. And then check-in, self-check-in, automated check-in, that's more common now. And I think that will be one of the trends through the global industry over the coming years and is already on the way. It's not necessarily new. So really that comes down to what about the ancillaries? What else is out there? So one of the things in terms of what we're taking from the airline industry into our hotels is we've just announced the ability for guests that book directly with us to actually select the exact room that they're going to be staying in at one of our properties on the floor plan of the hotel. So if you're familiar with, as many people are, choosing your seat on an aircraft, that's really old news, right? And actually that makes quite a lot of money for airlines. For us, we're going to make that complimentary for direct guests for obvious reasons. But actually that really helps and improves the guest experience, because whether you've chosen a double room, wherever it is in the hotel, is it on the first floor next to the lift above the bar, which is maybe where you want to be, or is your same room on the top floor, miles away from the lift and any noise of footfall outside of your door? That is your choice, and that choice is personal. And we want to give people the chance to be able to do that, because that will add value to their stay.
I might be asking a little bit of a tricky question here, Nick, because I mean, this has been something that's been in conversation for quite some time in the hotel industry, people being able to select their room. And every time you speak to operators and general managers, their key concern is that room going to be available, or has that been taken out of service? Or if that person's only there for one night, what about someone who's staying for 3 nights? So how is that sort of managed effectively from availability of these rooms?
Yeah, there's been a lot of debate about exactly that point. So where we settled on, one of the reasons we're doing it on direct customers only, obviously that's not 100% of our bookings. So that limits the room stock that we put in available for pre-selection. So that helps the operational teams. They're quite happy with that. It means they've got that flexibility in the room inventory to be able to move things around as operational things happen, which is just normal in hotels. But actually, again, if you look at the airline model, if you look at the T's and C's when you choose your EasyJet seat, on every T's it says, due to operational reasons, you might be moved from the seat you have been pre-allocated. No guest wants a room where the shower's not working. So if that happens, out of your control, operational reasons, then it's absolutely fine to explain it to a guest and move them. In fact, I think they'd welcome the move. So if we take these learnings from a mature offering in another industry, I think all those issues can be addressed, but putting 100% of the room stock on for pre-allocation by guests is challenging, and we're not going to be doing that for the time being.
Thanks for answering me the question. Very informative. Right. Okay. So moving to your tech stack then, the PMS, the heart of the hotel, essential to smart operations. What are your key considerations when actually identifying the right PMS and delivering that digital experience and automation? I mean, obviously, two-way integration is key. You mentioned that, but what other aspects determine a good PMS for you?
It's interesting, and as before you said, Queensway Hospitality is, we operate multiple assets. So the reason I say that is, in my recent experience, it's really horses for courses. So on the point A side, our requirements and level of technology that we need is different from the four-star luxury boutique properties that we operate. So I think it really depends on the business and the type of hotel that you are, the type of chain that you are, and the type of guest that you serve. That's sort of point number one. Point number two is no single system in the hotel tech stack delivers everything that you need out of the box, unfortunately. And they're all different shapes and sizes. So I think the key point is, apart from integration, is that you're selecting your combined tech stack in such a way that the whole tech stack is going to really deliver that seamless experience. So yes, the PMS is the heart of that tech stack and is arguably the most important bit, but actually, can you find the other constituent parts to make the whole work for your business? I think that is the key. Of all the PMSs that are out there, again, there are a number of really, really good ones. Which one delivers the guest experience that you need? And for the gaps that you have, can you, on a cost-effective basis, fill those gaps in a cohesive architecture?
Can you tell me a bit about what you've chosen and selected for point A that works well for your model?
Absolutely. So PMS, we use Guestline, and actually we're great partners with the Guestline for point A, and have been working with them for a number of years and have all our hotels on that platform. And actually for our check-in rollout, we're one of the early adopters on their guest stay product, which is their check-in add-on for the PMS. So again, one of the reasons we've gone with them, we work very well with them as a partner, which we look for in a supplier. We like more of a partnership than a supply-client relationship, but also because they're bringing the check-in application to market that's tightly integrated with the Guestline, which just avoids integration problems and data problems. So that's who we're using on that side. For our revenue management system, we use Ideas. We're on their most advanced AI-powered pricing engine at the moment. All the widgets switched on. We're using all the automated pricing. We're also one of the early adopters on Optics, which is the Ideas quite new business information dashboard for revenue analytics point of view. If you're an Ideas customer and you're not using Optics, have a look. I highly recommend it. It is brilliant in terms of reducing the amount of time to get to the really value-adding revenue management. That's absolutely fantastic. So I think those are the main areas of the kind of tech estate, the heart, if you like, of what we operate on the point A side.
Well, let's extend that on the revenue management side, because pricing is essential today. Being market relevant, as you say, is about having that value for the property and the essence that you want to deliver to your guests. But profitability is essential. So how do you do this? I mean, automation, as you mentioned, within the Ideas product is obviously delivering quite a bit of the horsepower that you need. But tell us a bit more for those who don't necessarily go for RMS automated systems or don't even use an RMS.
Absolutely. So I think if we step back a bit, why are we using an automated system at all? And that is because we believe the most effective pricing strategy, particularly dealing with an inflationary environment, is dynamic pricing rather than fixed pricing. So where the demand is strong and the market is strong, you can command a higher price. And where it's not, or there are different seasons or other events happening in the market, then you're not wedded to a fixed price where you might actually leave some business on the table. So we believe that dynamic pricing is the way forward. If you operate multiple hotels with dynamic pricing and you want to do that properly, so monitor what the comp set are doing, take reputational data into account, what are your Booking.com scores, TripAdvisor scores, take all of these thousands, if not millions of data points into account to set the most optimum dynamic price. We believe the only way to do that effectively is in an automated basis. So actually our revenue management function, we haven't reduced at all. In fact, we've invested in that function, but with the automation, we're spending 80% of our time on really high value revenue management, rather than 80% of our time on the low value, repetitive, quite boring, mundane parts of revenue management. So that's where we come from a overall pricing perspective. I think the other thing to say is beyond the automation is when setting pricing in this environment, you need to know the incremental cost of the incremental room that you're selling, because it's about that cost management. So that's a critical part of thinking about pricing strategy. And I think the other thing is the distribution costs. We are absolutely more than ever micromanaging our distribution costs. So the sort of KPIs that we look at when we talk about revenue and pricing is, net ADR, net RevPAR, to make sure that we're driving quality revenue into the business, not necessarily high cost revenue.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Nick, for giving such an informative explanation there. I mean, it can be a very complex subject, particularly nowadays with so much data going in and out of the systems. Now, data is a big thing for point A, and obviously managing that effectively. What insights have you managed to glean so far from your data that you've been able to get through the point A systems to drive that commercial strategy?
Yeah, there's plenty of data in hospitality, isn't there? So internal data, you look at external data, OTA Insight, STR. I mean, we're not lacking data, which is great, actually. So I think the first area of focus that I looked at was the revenue analytics, and the timing of the Ideas Optics product was brilliant. So we're quite advanced in our revenue analytics. Where we're focused on is actually guest behavior. So what is our repeat rate? What are our high lifetime value segments? Where do we acquire them from? What segment are they operating in? What is their source market? How far away is their hotel that they're staying in from where they live? So we're investing in a customer data platform, data lake, data warehouse, whatever you choose to call it, to really combine the data from these various constituent parts of our platform and then put them together in such a way that we really understand the behavior of guests. And the early results on that are phenomenal, because it points really clearly, provides not just reports, but it provides actionable insight. What do we do with our business next? Where do we take our proposition? So we're starting to work on our next generation, our loyalty offering, based on these insights on guest behavior. So revenue is a part of that, but there are so many other parts to that picture that we're starting to fill in on the puzzle. And it is a journey, and it takes a long time, but is well worth the effort. So that's where we're spending quite a lot of our time.
Can I just drill down then into the resources, human resources, that you've actually got working with you across this? Because we've talked about data, we've talked about revenue management, and as you say, you haven't decreased the resources there, you've only invested to focus on that high level side. But what does your team look like?
So our commercial team is actually a newly formed team, bringing revenue and marketing much more closely together in a combined commercial team that has one direction. So that's going quite well. On the revenue side, fairly traditional setup. We have a revenue manager team, we have groups, executives, we have sales roles. So quite a classic setup, but not in hotels. They're all based in our support office, working across the estate. Again, if you have enough automation in the background going on to automate the repetitive tasks, you can get your talent right out in the front of the business, spending more time in the market, talking to customers in different segments. So that's the philosophy that we follow. And then we have a small but perfectly formed marketing department that's quite sort of highly or over-indexed on tech, digital, and analytics, because that is where we're spending a lot of our time in terms of taking new digital products to market. We're doing all sorts of crazy things like this room selection, and that takes a lot of horsepower on the technology side. And actually that puts forward my final point. You need to decide in terms of your team size, which bits you do in-house and which bits you partner with a third party, either because they bring software to the table or they bring specialist expertise to the table. So I think the skills and the team shape of a classic commercial department are going to change over time. I think you'll see job titles like data scientists being much more prevalent in commercial teams as hospitality moves forward over the next few years, because I think that is the future. There is so much data, but where's the gold in them hills around what that's telling you about what your guests are doing and where to take your business next? So that's kind of our shape today, but it is definitely emerging and evolving over time.
So as you go through this hybrid model of partners and in-house to team resourcing, how do you select your partners, be it the tech systems or be it your other agents that are helping you drive the business?
I mentioned earlier partnerships. It does need to feel like a true partnership. We're not a huge business, so I think the price point has to be right, that we can afford it, given that we operate 10 hotels in the budget segment. But beyond that, a true partnership that feels like a two-way street, I think is really important. Bringing some good technology and automation to the table that doesn't give us integration problems or give us guests calling up because something has gone astray, because there's some problem with data. We don't need any of that. So that integration point is really key. And actually, partners that add value. We work with HotelRez, for example, and they're great. They see an opportunity on their side of the market for us, and they will call us and say, hey, point A, we've got an opportunity for in this space, whatever that might be. Would you like to be involved? Can we put you forward? How can we work more as partners? And subsequently, we're the first to put our hand up on early adopter programs, what they want to bring to the market. So more relationship like that are what we look for.
Wonderful. Thank you, Nick, for joining us today and giving us your Hoteliers Voice story for season 3.
My pleasure, Ryan. Thanks so much.
Thank you. So that was Nick Pilbeam, Commercial Director for Queensway Hotels and Hospitality that operate Point A hotels as part of Season 3 Hoteliers Voice. Go to travelmarket.life for more, or head to any of your podcast channels, travelmarket.life, for the full list of episodes. Thanks for listening. I'm your host, Ryan Haynes. Ciao for now.
For more, go to Travel Market Life. The music sensation by Zach Nelson is reproduced under license from Storyblocks. Travel Market Life is a Haynes Marcoms digital marketing agency production, serving the travel and technology industries.